Hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano and Bitcoin. Let's take a look at both charts quickly as an update today. Yeah, if you've been following me on this channel, you will know that I expect a sharp drop for Bitcoin either very shortly, so within the next few days, going down here into the region below 30k, or that we will from here, as we build that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that we're now correcting this, yeah, which would indicate that we can come into this yellow target box up here. So basically between 55 and 63k. These would be ideal target levels here, with the one in the middle probably be the ideal one around 58.5k, 59k. Yeah, and from then have that strong move down. In either scenario, in both scenarios, I would expect a strong move down. Based on the Elliott Wave method, Elliott Wave count, I explained it all in detail in the last few videos, so I'm not going to do that again. But in short, here we are in a correction that started back in April. That's my view. ABC, that wave B here to the upside was actually a fake out to the upside in a massive scale. Yeah, you need to think about that. Also had a few questions, people saying that, you know, if this is really playing out, we have a massive head and shoulders. Yeah. Also, someone asked me, we get an inverted head and shoulders. Like, yeah, I can't remember where that was, but I don't, you know, these patterns overall, they're only one. Just because we have a head and shoulders, for example, or an inverted head and shoulders, doesn't mean it needs to break. What is much more likely for me is all the things here coming together with the Elliott Wave counts, how they play out overall throughout various cryptocurrencies that I'm tracking at the moment. And this makes me think that this is going to play out as well. Of course, I could be wrong, happy to be proven wrong. No issue with that. We all love higher prices. So if we go up in the end and break through here and go to 75 to 80k, I have no problem with that. Then I'd be happy to say, right, my count was probably wrong, was the wrong one. I mean, to be honest, in my view, it is a valid count, but the thing is, there are always bearish and bullish interpretations, and you can read this also still in some way, probably in a bullish way. But I did explain it all in detail yesterday why I stick here with a bearish scenario. There are just too many bearish things for me in this chart here. One example being that strong impulse to the downside, that impulse here that happened back in April, May, June. Then we have this structure here to the upside, which exactly adhered to Fibonacci levels for an overshooting wave B. So all of that works together very well, where I would now expect the wave C to play out with a low below that wave A, so below 29k basically actually. And at the moment we are then in this impulse that we completed probably. Now we are in a correction of that, so a retracement in this case to the upside that seems to play out at the moment. I did say another possibility would be to come down straight away, but at the moment it's more seeming like that we are going to retrace here really into this region up here. Basically everybody will then get to bullish, people going long, people going on, you know, long with their leverage positions. And I think that is then when we're going to see another drop, another washout that many people don't expect. But now we see more and more people actually talking about this on YouTube, on Twitter, that we actually, people now start to expect, yeah, that drop as well. So it's not only me anymore. To be fair, a few other people talked about this before as well. But I always said, you know, when we drop below 53k, that's for me like the cutoff point here. From here, I would go bearish. And yeah, what we can see here now, this is currently working out in this direction here. So I think this is now the most likely one. I would therefore expect here us to come higher, possibly going above that previous high here at 52k in the next move. Yeah. And then we're climbing into this area here, and that is what I expect currently. And I did tell the Telegram members, channel members earlier today, because I couldn't do an update video earlier today, that if we drop below this region here, and the low was, yeah, it's pretty much 46.9, 47k, that then this move up here is probably over this retracement and we go down straight away. At least that would then become much more likely. So watch the 47k level, but at the moment it seems, because we're continuing this move up here, probably like a 1-2, 1-2 pattern here or something, based on Elliott Waves, you know, a beginning move up, that we are getting into this region. But bear in mind, this is also not going to be a straight line, because if I assume that this here is an ABC, then this here, this correction from that impulse would also be an ABC. And sorry, if you don't know about Elliott Waves and how they work, please check out my second channel, More Trading Online. I've got a playlist there where I will publish more and more videos, but also I've got some basic tutorials already about the Elliott Wave method. So what we will see here is then again an A, a B and a C. Yeah, that ABC here is going to play out. So at some point you will have a sharp drop, and that could happen in the next few days. That could go down possibly here all the way down to 45k and maybe even lower, maybe to around 40k or another, 42k or something. That is a possibility for that wave B here. That could drop quite sharp before we then come up quite high in the wave C, before we then again drop quite sharply to that area. That is what I expect. So at the moment it's playing out perfectly, but at some point here, probably in the next few days, I would expect then a sharper drop in a wave B. These are all here the ups and downs, the noise of that wave A. You can see here, and then we see a sharper drop in a wave B. That could go down all the way to that 42k level, maybe even a little bit lower, yeah? Because a wave B can go all the way down, well, in this case to the low, and possibly even lower in an extreme case. But I wouldn't expect it to go down necessarily that far. Ideal level would be 45k in my view here for that wave B. So expect a sharper drop in the next few days that would be very well aligned with this one. And then we go up from there in wave C. That's my expectation, then come down. That's how it looks like currently. And I did show you here on the weekly that also speaks towards that we have this massive bearish divergence on the weekly RSI and MACD. For Bitcoin, higher highs, lower highs here on the RSI and on the MACD. And again, someone asked, if you have that on the weekly, really, is that not too much of a time frame for divergences? No. It's actually much more significant. The higher the time frame, the more significant. This is going to play out, in my view, as a divergence, as a massive correction. And we already here have a bearish crossover on the weekly RSI, MACD. And we're also getting in the red zone here, basically by having this bearish crossover. And we can fall now quite sharply, actually. We are quite high on the weekly RSI, so we're going to fall quite sharply. That will be very interesting if that is really going to play out. To be honest, I did say it, I think in a previous video, the on-chain indicators for Bitcoin actually look quite good. So it will be very interesting to see how this is all going to play out, which methodology is actually going to win. Is it the Elliott Waves? Is it this analysis? Or is it the on-chain indicators, which actually don't look too bad, to be honest. There are some that I explained in previous videos that actually look quite bullish for Bitcoin, but the Elliott Waves here speak a different language at the moment. So it will be very, very exciting to see if that's going to play out. ADA following Bitcoin here at the moment. Again, doing nothing exciting at the moment. Just following down, basically following up and down here at the moment in this. If we take a look on the 4-hour chart, you can see it very similar move to Bitcoin. Just ups and downs, and pretty much what I said earlier today already, that we are still below this descending trend line. You've got this descending trend line, and we are currently at a breakout point, but doesn't really look like that we're going to break it at the moment. That is at 142. Well, possibly we will, possibly we will actually break it if Bitcoin now does another move, maybe to 51, 52k, as I just said, in a next move up, making a higher high there. Then possibly ADA, if it follows, then we could also see a higher high here going up and breaking the next fib level at 147. That'd be great. And then we just climb the fib ladder. Overall, however, we are pretty much restricted by this descending trend line that you see here coming down in white. Yeah, I mean, that is what Cardano is doing at the moment. We can see here also that we are having here, or that we did have here, this bullish divergence. This was not a bullish divergence. We actually had just following the price chart. No, that was not correct. So now, I mean, we're just in this downtrend still. Still in the yellow target box that we so far perfectly reached, but we're getting very deep into it, to be fair. And yeah, we just need to see what Bitcoin is doing here. I mean, Bitcoin is just leading the market, and to be honest, at the moment, at least, ADA is following Bitcoin, which is positive. All the way up here, it wasn't really following Bitcoin. It was going. It was when Bitcoin was going up, it was just staying as it was, and when Bitcoin was going down, it was following Bitcoin down, but even harder. Now ADA is at least at a stage where it's following Bitcoin up and down. So you can see this correction here, and we can see that on the ADA BTC chart as well, that we are getting more into the horizontal range. But yes, as long as we stay below in this descending trend line, it's not going to do any exciting things. So we need to break above that in a move. What is nice to see that we're currently here again at the 50 line of the 4-hour RSI. Also, we would need to break above that to make a nice move here. Currently also acting as resistance, the 4-hour RSI. Let's take a look on the daily. On the daily, we are looking here quite weak on the RSI on the daily, quite low, which on the other hand means that we have quite a bit of a scope to the upside. And MACD downtrend possibly slowing down here. You can see that here on the histogram. The moving averages here getting closer together. But yeah, overall, just following Bitcoin at the moment, and we can see just that strong downtrend there. Overall, still a much more bullish chart than Bitcoin, even though it's hard to understand. But from an Elliott Wave point of view, it's a much more bullish chart at the moment. And in the worst case, to remain bullish, we could see here $1 chart. If we break below $1, then I probably have to sit down in the next few days and work on a scenario. What would happen if Bitcoin, if ADA drops below $1? Would it still be bullish? Would be hard to interpret that bullish then, I guess, but I would really need to look at the wave count again. Need to do that. Haven't done that yet. Overall, still in that bullish scenario where we are actually currently in a wave 3, and then we would see a turnaround here before we hit $1 and would go up. That is still what I expect at the moment based on the Elliott Wave count. Seems impossible to many people at the moment, but bear in mind it also seemed impossible to a lot of people when I said back here in September that we are coming down to 181. Now, unfortunately, we did come down to that level, but we also came much lower. And then I gave you the other fib levels here as supports, but there we also hit already the lowest one here, 125 now, which did hold so far. So, you know, we just need to see what's going to happen next here. But I still at the moment expect a turnaround here, but it could be very tight. It could be very tight. Personally, I don't expect the $1 level to be broken, but if it happens in the end, it happens. Unfortunately, it would be the case. So far at the moment, I would still expect a turnaround here at some point, either within the yellow target range or as low as $1. We can see a turnaround here. That's my view, from which we then continue in a larger wave 3 where we would see target levels of, you know, 450 to 550 potentially, right, in that next wave. But yeah, ADA has corrected much earlier than Bitcoin, so it's already much more advanced in that correction. And however, when Bitcoin really drops much lower, then how far can ADA really drop, you know? So to get a buffer in place, ADA really needs to perform now and build a good buffer between a current price and the $1 level. Because if Bitcoin suddenly goes down to 29K, then ADA, it will have difficulties to hold $1, yeah? It will have difficulties, so we need to build that buffer. But to be honest, it will take time for Bitcoin to drop down, in my view. If we really, as it seems, go the way here into that yellow target area first, it will take a while. You know, this level of 29K potentially we are not going to reach before maybe February or March. You know, that's just what it is. It just takes a long time if we go all the way up here before we actually come down. That is just unfortunately reality. The good news is though that then in this yellow target area we should see the turnaround and get very bullish again, which would indicate that next year we have another bull market, which is the good news. So hopefully you liked that update video. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe. And if you really like the content, maybe consider to join as a channel member. You can find the join button next to the subscribe button, and then you can get access to live streams, Telegram and Discord. Yeah, live chats basically. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.